The fix is in. The Sports Fix.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by GV Art and Design. It's not just a shirt, it's a statement. GVArtwork.com.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. It's that simple.
Twitter.com/TheSportsFixCLE, baby.
Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today, The Sports Fix on social media, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. Join the Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
Hey Cleveland, this is Anderson Varejão of the Cleveland Cavaliers. You are listening to the Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
There we go. We are rolling. The mic's cracked. You know what? Let me tell you. Pardon the a couple of minutes there, 30-second delay, whatever, getting us going up on the air. Some mornings are better than others, and both technically and aesthetically this morning, it's just been a lousy morning here in the studios of the Sports Fix. I'm just going to throw that out there. Doesn't matter because the clock strikes noon. It's like Cinderella, baby. You got to go to work no matter whether you're having a good morning. Man, I'll tell you what. This is going to be a fly by the seat of our pants. Let's throw it up and make it happen, Captain kind of morning here. Thank you guys for being afternoon, evening, whatever it is where you're at. Guys, that's where we're at today, so let's have some fun with it. Welcome in, you guys, to the Sports Fix. J-Rock with you here. Now, just been a long, Charles in the chat room. No, not a cold, just a long night, long morning as well. Most definitely here on the show. But it's all good. It's all good. We're going to rock and roll because it's Thursday. Got a lot of things going on today. Got several guests on tap today. I'll go through that in just a minute. I'm going to open up the phone lines right off the bat today because there's this basketball exhibition. These fellas are going to dribble basketballs, and that James fellow we've been talking about, he's here. I don't know, big giant billboard thing dropped downtown. One of those, some stuff like that's going on today. We're going to talk about all of that. Eddy Jansen, my man from More Than a Fan Cleveland, he's going to be with us here today, previewing that close to the end of the show. That's going to be our final portion of the show today. Eddy will be with us. Cannot wait to set the stage for you guys. We're going to be talking about it throughout the day. I have no doubt that the majority of the interaction and the phone calls that we'll get today will be mentioning that James fellow once or twice and some of his compadres down at the Q. So looking forward to that. Fun day here in Cleveland. Listen, you guys know I'm not the biggest you-know-who fan, but I am a huge Cavaliers fan. I'm the biggest Cleveland fan. That's all that matters to me. The city of Cleveland, you guys deserve what's going down today, and it's going down for real, as they say. It's gonna be a night to remember down at Quicken Loans Arena. All joking aside, for anybody who's down there, seriously, you won't forget this one for a while. I'm gonna go on record. I was telling a friend of mine last night, I said, you know what? I wasn't sure what was going to happen, what the reaction was going to be, all of that kind of stuff, and wasn't sure what was going to happen. But I got a funny feeling tonight that you may get one of those moments where it takes a few minutes to start the game, because I got a funny feeling that there may be one of those extended standing ovations tonight before they're able to clear the court and get that thing going, both for LeBron James and for the Cavaliers as a whole. That game presentation, we talked about it. We'll talk about it some more. City of Cleveland deserves it Absolutely, and going to be some fun watching that stuff go down tonight. Going to be fun talking to you guys about it today. Kendall Lewis, the BSK, just about 10 minutes from now, he's going to join us, kicking things off. I'm sure he's got some things to say about LeBron James returning home, the Cavaliers tipping off. He's a big hoops guy, and we'll talk some Browns, get his thoughts on the Raiders, on Brian Hoyer, on the Bucks coming up. We've got Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com joining us here just about 35 minutes from now. We're going to talk some baseball. World Series, man. Madison Bumgarner is the man. The man. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to talk about that here. The World Series, a classic ending to the World Series. The Giants, wow. Royals did not get it done at the end. I mean, tell me you didn't think when that ball hit the center fielder and then bounces to the fence and then they kick the ball to the wall and the guy's fumbling and bumbling and stumbling to pick that thing up and they got it to I'll tell you, I would have been tempted to send Gordon. I would have been tempted to say, take your shot at the plate, young fella. But who wants to be the guy who gets their guy thrown out at the plate to end Game 7 of the World Series? And I don't know if he would have made it, but it would have been something. I know you guys, I see the phones ringing. I've already got a call in queue. You guys have got to sit tight. I'll get to the phones. Matter of fact, let me get rolling here so I can get you guys up on the phone lines. I promise, sit tight. If I'm not answering your call, I will momentarily. But, yeah, tell me you wouldn't have sent him. Had shades of Kenny Lofton right there, man. I would have had to have. It looked like it would have been close for sure. It would have been a bang-bang play at the plate, and who knows, maybe we would have had a World Series decided on an instant replay review. We had the first one of the, man, how about that glove toss? Oh, some great plays yesterday, great World Series. We're going to talk about that with Mike Brandenberry. Kung Fu Panda's going to get paid after this one. We'll talk ARod. Hey, he is officially now a baseball player again. We'll talk about the Indians, all of that. Mike Brandenberry, BJ Rudell, fantasy football for winners. We're going to do that. Eddy Jansen, as I said, previewing the Cavs at the end of the show and so much more. So let's roll. Welcome into the Sports Fix. We got a lot to cover and a limited amount of time to do it. I'm your host, the Big Daddy on the microphone. J-Rock, Jerry Myers with you here each and every weekday at noon across the Sports Fix Radio Network. Live on TuneIn and TuneIn's radio app, on Spreaker and Mixler and their digital applications, and live on our website, the home base, thesportsfix.net. Hello as well, all of you listening around the world on digital delay 24/7 on places such as iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio provider, on iTunes and Stitcher Radio and SoundCloud and all the other places that you guys listen, subscribe, feed the show. Thank you so much for being with us. I see the phones blowing up. I'm going to them now. 216-539-7535, the number to call if you can't get through, like the guys that are trying to call right now because I got calls on hold. 216-539-7535. Facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the Sports Fix, CLE, all one word. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. I'm done talking. I'm going to the phones because they're blowing up. Caller, kick us off today on the Sports Fix.
Hey, you know what? In the most exciting day in Cleveland sports in, I don't know, the last 10, 15 years, I decided I'd call into the most exciting sports show. This is your buddy. This is Vince the Author McKee. How's it going, J-Rock?
I going great. I appreciate the segue. I don't know that the most exciting day in 15 years, but it's right up there. It's right up there with a couple of other ones, that's for sure. Just because it's been a long time coming since the focus of the sports world was on Cleveland. So tonight it's going to be, and I'll tell you what, this is going to be an interesting game tonight because the Knicks, as Phil Jackson said last night, not quite ready for prime time. I watched them get slapped around by the Bulls in between, flipping back and forth there of the early part of the World Series game, and I said, man, that's going to be an opening. I'm just saying, you got to play the games. You can't play them on paper, but the Cavs are probably going to run the Knicks right out of the queue tonight based on the way they played last night.
Well, I hope so, but, you know, the bigger thing is being excited about Cavaliers basketball in a whole. And, you know, as you were nice enough to have me on about the history of the Cavaliers book, the purpose behind
which is
that book,
fantastic,
the purpose behind anything right now.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to talk to you. Real quick, Vince, I haven't had a chance to talk to you since you were on previewing the book, and I've read it, of course. Fantastic. The history of the wine and gold, man. Good stuff. Great Cavaliers stuff right there.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, yeah. It was a blast to write, but the purpose behind it was, and kind of the reason why I called, is LeBron or not, just to get the city excited about basketball again in this town. We had a good young product working with Kyrie Irving and then Deion Waiters, and we had the number 1 pick, and things were going good. And even without who coming back, I would have been excited for this season regardless. So you add one of the league's top 3 players, if not the best player in the league, back on our team, and I mean, this should be a great season regardless. I don't know how anybody wouldn't be excited today. Just the overall feel of to be not just respectable, but to be viable in the league.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Today's a fun day, and we'll see, though, seriously, where this thing goes. A lot of people, I've had some arguments with some friends last night, like, you're nuts, the Cavs are going to win the whole thing. I'm like, hey, man, you're mad at me because I say they're going to almost win the whole thing. Like, I think either one of us should be happy, no matter how this thing ends up. I'll be perfectly happy if they come close. Let's just sit back and enjoy the ride. But I say it all the time, in Cleveland, you can't play the lotto when it's only a $5 million jackpot. We can only play when it's $250 because we don't need $5 million here in Cleveland. We just need the super duper mega jackpot to go with our super duper mega Videotron that's going to be debuted tonight, man. I'll tell you, it's a fun day though. It's a good time, man.
You know, Jerry, and you know this more than anybody, and this is why I enjoy being on your show. This is why I enjoy your listeners, because you guys are smart, and it's tough to win an NBA championship. Look at the dream team that Miami had for the last 4 years, and they only won 2. Look at the 2004 Lakers when they already had Kobe and Shaq, and they brought on, Gary Payton and Karl Malone with the greatest coach in Phil Jackson. They couldn't do it. This stuff's hard, and I'm like I said earlier in the call, I'm excited for the Cavs. I'm glad everybody else is excited, but I think we need to take a bit of a deep breath, sit back, read the history of the wine and gold, get excited, but also be realistic that it might not happen this first year, and everybody, if it doesn't happen, we just can't all jump off the ship all at once. There's going to be a process like anything, like Holmgren word process, but we do, like you said, everybody needs to take a deep breath. Let's hope for the best, but let's not make sure we think it's some sort of sure thing, because to me it's anything but a sure thing. Every game's tough, and we need to play each one separately and not get ahead of ourselves. Because I think that was the biggest problem we had the last time LeBron was here. We were all worried about if he was going to re-sign the contract, if he was going to come back, and we didn't live in the moment. And today and this season and being on the Sports Fix is about living in the moment.
Hey, I like that. I'll tell you what, my buddy last night, he was getting red in the face arguing with me. He goes, but Jerry, you and I talk about how deep they are. They've got a whole nother team after the 5 guys that start the game. And I said, well, it is tough to argue with parts of that, but let's be realistic here, man. It's a journey. There's a lot of things to be done, and I remind everybody, all I'm going to say is that the best Cavs team under LeBron James finished only 6 games away from being the best team in NBA history record-wise, and they didn't even make the NBA Finals. That's all I'm saying is, for teams like the Cavs, this regular season is an 82-game X hits every town twice a year. Everybody gets to go see the circus. They get to go see the dancing bears. They get to go see the big thing coming to town. They'll do their tour around the NBA, much like the Heat does, much like the top few teams do. This season doesn't start until you get to the playoffs, and that's just the reality of it. The 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, all the middle-ranked seeds, they got to fight their way through, and the season matters. To me, in the Eastern Conference for the last decade, the top couple of seeds, it's just a matter of who's first, who's second, who gets home court. They're all going to win 50, 55, 60 games, somewhere in that area. Chicago, Cleveland, Miami. I'll put Miami up in that listing too. People act like they're just going to fall off the planet or something. They're going to be one of the better teams in the East. But to me, that's what it was. That's what the Heat was. It was a giant highlight reel during the regular season where they gobbled up the bad teams around the NBA, and you'd have your dozen good games against the teams from the West, and you'd have your couple of good games against the teams from the East. Man, like my buddy was saying, he's got season tickets. He's like, I got all the Western Conference games circled. I got the Bulls. I've got the Heat. I've got a couple of the Eastern Conference, and I'm selling all the rest. And that's the way the average fan looks at it. But it's going to be fun. But to me, you're not going to learn anything about this team till we get to about April. That's where you'll start figuring out what this team's got. And hey, man, they got some offense, that's for sure. They may run this thing all the way through, but I think they come very close. They fall short. I've got San Antonio beating either Cleveland or Chicago, whichever team they face in the finals, because I think the Spurs, I think they're going to be motivated to do the one thing they haven't done, which is win 2 in a row.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Jerry, and you made a hell of a point a few minutes ago when you said about in 2009, 2010,